7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's James for the Beauty Business Reset. We're really excited today. Obviously, I have my partner in crime, Derek Hull, with us on the other side, and our pal Stacey Sobel is with us. Hey, Stacey. We're here to talk specifically about the Salon Today 200 or ST 200 for those of you that have entered before and know that. But Stacey, thanks for joining us. Really quick, just to give some information. She's just going to talk about deadlines, but you guys should all enter. Even if it's not something that you have to try it. May not win on the first time, you may not win on the second time, but if you don't work through how the entry works, you're just never going to know, and you'd be with a great group of 199 other awesome people. So Stacey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So you want to ask me a question? You want me to just start talking?
No, go ahead. I would first say that the deadline's been extended from Halloween, which I think you still should have kept the Halloween deadline. It could have made it more interesting. As you're trick-or-treating, you're like, oh my God, I have to click send. But the deadline's been extended to when, Stacey?
November 15th, midnight, Pacific Standard Time.
That's awesome. And I know I've been on the cusp of trying to figure out exactly what time midnight is from the East Coast Pacific Standard Time, because I know I have done it before where I was under right about a minute before to enter. So I appreciate the timing on that for sure. So Stacey, tell us a little bit about this year. Guys, just to let you know, Derek's going to go and do an edit, and he's going to post Stacey's video that they had hosted that gives you a little more detail in applying for it. But Stacey, tell us a little bit about this year.
Well, this is our 26th year, so we're excited. We celebrated our 25th year last year, but just for anyone who hasn't applied before, this is a business competition for the salon industry. It started out measuring growth. So we looked at total sales data, and we did that until about 2 years ago when we had the pandemic, and it just wasn't fair to analyze sales data because you had some salons that were shut for 6 weeks and some that were shut for 8 months. So we did a little detour over the last couple of years and really leaned more heavily into the essay portion of the competition. But this year it's a combination. We're looking at sales growth again. We're expecting, because we're comparing 2020 to 2021, so we're expecting a lot of people to have some good numbers. But we also have 10 different best management practices. So you can compete on either the sales data or the best management practices. And we want everybody to write a best practice essay. And there are 10 different categories, everything from philanthropy, technology, client retention or referral. There's salon leadership, salon culture, education. So there are there's whatever you do well, that's what we encourage you to enter on. So
that's awesome. And it's ST 200 is notorious for sort of building. I know the growth category with the numbers, which we completely appreciated, because in thinking about it during the pandemic, you're saying, how are you even going to supply those numbers? What are the actual numbers? So that was actually really smart. But in looking at the future of it as well, for you guys that haven't applied or if it's your first year, look at those categories, because the way they're structured, I mean, first of all, for me, I hope you keep the essay. When it converted to more of an essay format, I thought, in our perspective, because we are not a big salon, I thought the essay portion of it gave a little more in-depth detail about what we do differently and gave us a little more space to give our voice to it, which I appreciated completely. But the way those 10 different categories are, they don't change too much. So as you apply, if you go in and you say, hey, I think we're going to apply for growth or leadership or anything like that, you may want to look at it and say, hey, we also do something philanthropy wise. So it gives you something for the following year. I don't know who it was, one of our mutual friends, I can't think of which one because it's probably more than one, that keeps their info from past years. So I would also encourage you guys, file your essays digitally or on paper, so that you have that information for when you do go look at it next year, because you're going to feverishly scramble over these next 3 weeks to get it done. You're going to breathe a sigh of relief, and you're not going to think about it again until Stacey says Halloween is the deadline and she extends it to November 15th. And you're like, oh man, where is the last year's essay? I mean, first of all, so you can change it, right? But definitely keep the data. And I can't wait. I always look forward to when the actual issue comes out, because first and foremost, especially Beauty Business Reset, I don't even know how many salon owners that were members of our groups that were winners, which is always really cool. But I comb through it and I see what other salons are doing. And I say, well, whether it's what software they use. I mean, that's how we got introduced to Forest, because so many of our friends were on Forest. And I said, why are we not on Forest? But whether it's philanthropic things that you may want to do, or if it's anything leadership wise that you may want to do, you're going to have the best of the best giving you a little tidbit of their advice. Which I don't know. I always thought I can't, for some reason, I can't get myself on the cover. I can do 168 Zoom videos for BBR, but no, I'm only.
You have to talk to your photographer about that.
No, I think what I'm going to do though, listen, Stacey's one of those people that for Beauty Business Reset that through the pandemic, like we mildly had met at different events before, but listen, we love you, and I'm so glad that we've sort of built this friendship over this 3 years through this. We can joke around, but I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send crazy pictures in that are never going to make the cover every year. That's going to be my thing, and it'll be like, oh my god, here's James again with his underwear on his head or something crazy.
Well, you referenced the webinar. You guys are going to share the link for that. There are 4 owners on there that have been long time 200 honorees that talk about their personal strategies for entering. And we are surprised because things have come out of this that we didn't even intend when we designed it. But there are a lot of owners that say going through the process of the application, and I won't lie, it's a bit arduous, and you can attest to that, James, but it sets them up for the next year. They come out of it like with the basis of a strategic plan. And I know Terry McKee from Nuovo actually designs a strategic plan around it and comes up with assignments for his team on each of those categories that we design in the application.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that too. And that was one of the good points. Listen, you have to go back to your teams or your partners or whatever it is anyway. I mean, listen, even just family wise, whether you love it or not, most people that own salons, even if your family doesn't work with you or whatever, they definitely work for you in some capacity, right? Because it's the type of business you're always bringing something home. But we've gone back to our team. I've gone through and I've started, right? So I would encourage anybody that hasn't done it yet, start it, just so you can see where, how the layout is and what the information is, so that you can always go back to it to meet the deadline. But go back to your teams and say, hey, we're thinking of entering, we do this really cool thing leadership wise or education wise in our salon. Go back to your team and ask them, because it's a really cool opportunity to go back. Because to be honest with you, we even have our little plaques we have made up when we've won. I think we've won 4 times in the last 10 years. So just to let you know, it's never a gimme. It's not like we're 10 years in a row. Yeah. We even missed a year, I think, in between somewhere.
James, what I know a lot of people are asking is why do I join? Why do I go through this? And from my perspective, because we've also been in there, it's more not only so your peers can recognize you and you can get some credit, street credit, we'll call it, right? But it draws customers to your business, because you can turn around and you can say, hey, winner of blah, 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 best salon in the country, whatever it might be that you use out there. And I think that's it's a great thing from an advertising perspective also.
It is, and we actually do it. If you win, you get a customized press release, so we help you a little bit with that and give you some tips on how to use it. But also, I mean, the other thing I was talking about, things that organically came out of this that we didn't expect. It's kind of become a community now too. So we have an event in the spring called Data Driven. That's where the awards are. So like last year we had 120 of the 200 salons represented there. And, you know, they've gotten to know each other. They rely on each other. They call each other when they have issues and problems. So it's kind of become a community as well, which is great.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that. So guys, we're going to post the links up. Derek's we'll have them in the bottom there for you guys to check out Stacey's past video. We will put a link to the application. Don't forget November 15th, 12 midnight PST. All right. So for you guys on the East Coast, pretend, change your timing. Don't do it on the 15th. Let's say November 14th. So it gives you a day of a buffer. But she's got quite a few applicants that have started already. So for those of you who started, congratulations. Obviously, listen, from our two groups, especially with the Beauty Business Reset, if you have questions, go back to the community, and you could always post in the group and find out from some of the past SD200 winners. Stacey's always good to see your smiling face.
Can I say one thing about the
You
essay?
could say 2, 3, 4 things, whatever you want.
People get hung up on the essay. And I just want to, and then we have people that actually, you know, hire PR agencies to help them write it. And it's not necessary. We aren't judging on grammar, spelling, any of that. We're looking for great ideas that we can harvest for this issue. So if you want to do it in bullet point form, whatever makes you happy, you know, don't get hung up on the essay. I'm not a professional hairstylist. I don't know how to cut hair. I would never expect anybody to like judge my haircut. It would be awful. We're not judging grammar, spelling, or any of that. So we're just looking for the quality of the ideas. And there are 2 essays. There's one on successes and challenges in the last 2 years. Like, what have been your successes in your businesses? What have been your challenges? We're not judging the challenges, but the challenges help us understand what's going on right now and what are people's pain points so that we can come up with content for the following year to address that. And then the other essay is whichever best practice you choose. So
I love that. I love that. And I hope that you do. I mean, I'm curious too. I mean, the hair industry overall had been a great community through these last few years in terms of helping each other and helping to lift each other up. I'm interested to see what the continuing challenges are. You know, I mean, some salons had sort of turned a corner on everything and had salons closed in their neighborhood and hired a bunch of new staff and expanded, which, you know, congratulations to those. But there are still some continued challenges. And Salon Today as a magazine, you guys, it's digital version too, by the way, so which is super easy. That's the way I read it now. I'm using it on my iPad when I'm sitting there. So make sure that you do check out the magazine overall. If you do have any issues or anything that you need, Stacey's always readily available. I think that the video that we're going to put the link to, though, kind of gave a really good explanation of the essays. So don't wait, guys. Start your applications. If you start them, at least Stacey will know how many of you started it. So she'll know what her holidays are going to look like as she's editing and going through these.
And reading all those essays.
That's really good. And then when does the actual, I think it's the February issue, right, is when it comes out?
It is spring. It will be March. But we usually do it online. And we also have a weekly email newsletter. We do webinars. We do a lot more digital media now than we do just the magazine. But we'll release them online and through social in February.
Awesome. Awesome.
Very
All right, guys. Always good to see you. Derek, make sure Derek's going to do a great job with putting these links in for you guys when we do the edit. He's getting dangerous. Dangerous Derek, right? He's getting good at it. But Stacey, thank you so much for being with us today.
Great to see you guys.
Stacey, great seeing you as always.